Welcome to the Vernon Verdict. I'm your host, Jacob Vernon, and today we're doing a pop-up show pretty much. Sunday at 7 p.m. now. We're going to do one show a week. We're going to move away from the Monday and Friday noon streams. We're going to make some more content, though, throughout the week, some more YouTube-style videos, and just kind of try to hit a better time for everyone to be able to come through and give their takes and be a part of the family at the Vernon Verdict pretty much. We got a lot of good content to cover today. We've been covering a lot of content all week on the social medias at Vernon Verdict. They're also linked in the bio, make it a little bit easier. You can go in the description. You can follow us on our social medias. We got sideline coverage coming up. We got hot takes coming up, and we just got funny moments in general we capture on there. For my favorite thing we've been doing lately is we've been talking about the NBA Finals, and we've been giving our predictions. We've been doing some drive-through predictions, so we're going to be giving more of those as well. We got a lot to look forward to. This year's been a big year with sports. It seems like we had the March Madness that went crazy. Right. Super Bowl was insane. This College World Series, though, has kind of taken a toll on the SEC. You got LSU, who didn't even get punched their ticket, and then the number one team in Tennessee, people thought were going to be the greatest college baseball team ever, perhaps 57-8 record on the season, get wiped by Notre Dame, and they can't go to the College World Series now. Definitely a lot of people disappointed to see that. The SEC in baseball just didn't fare well for us this year. I could say the same in basketball. March Madness, a lot of these powerhouse SEC teams got wiped. I'm not worried, though. We breed in football. Football, we got the national champions in the SEC. So
without a doubt.
I think that the SEC is probably one of the most athletic conferences, though, in the country, because we the fact that we can arguably have a powerhouse team going baseball, going basketball, and going football is insane. LSU's got a lot of promising things going forward, but we're gonna kind of talk about the UFC here briefly. We got a big fight last night. I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking personally before I didn't want to watch the card. I was thinking that it was going to be boring, and that 275 card was headlined by a light heavyweight title fight. And a light heavyweight title fight is normally a snooze fest for me, because what I've been noticing, I don't know about you, but what I've been noticing is it just seems like these guys aren't as competitive as they once were. What do you think about that?
It's definitely not what it used to be. They used to have big guys, they used to hold down. They were some of the baddest guys around there. But nowadays, like you said, it's a little slower paced, and I don't know. It's just not as big anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a part of that is just because of the I'm not gonna say the era, but kind of the place we're in now. A lot of the greats are gone, and the light heavyweight division held their pride because they had a lot of heavy hitters in there. I mean, you had John Jones, you had Daniel Cormier, you had the Iceman Chuck Liddell, you had Lyoto Machida. You had a lot of guys who were in there laying the leather down and either taking someone on the ground for the entirety of the fight or beating them into a pulp. The heavyweights were kind of the light heavyweights were just the quicker heavyweights. They were able to be agile. They were able to get in and around, and it seemed like a more well-rounded fight in the beginning. It was definitely my favorite division, but lately it's just, like I said, it's been kind of a snooze fest, and I don't know if it's because of who we got at the top. I don't know if it's the fighting styles. I'm more of a slugger. I like to stand and bang. It's fun. I like Mike Tyson for sure, and that's the king of stand and bang right there. My favorite division in the UFC right now, I would have to say, would be probably the lightweight division.
I was just about to say that. The most entertaining division, pretty much hands down, you could say the lightweight division.
For the past couple years, and Conor McGregor can be a big credit to that. I think Conor McGregor drew a lot of attention into the lightweight division, but and it's crazy because he didn't even come up in it. Featherweight.
That's true.
And, he slips, bantamweight. I mean, he did featherweight too. Yeah. Featherweight, and then he slips in there, goes to lightweight. That's ridiculous. Conor McGregor should have never been able to get to that weight. That weight cut was one of the ugliest pictures I've ever seen out of anything in the UFC. And I've seen Alistair Overeem rip his lip in half. I've seen people break arms. I've seen so many ugly cuts, ugly breaks. Anderson Silva, even Chris Weidman had his own. I was about to say that. Yeah, that's terrible. That picture was of Conor on that scale looking like he looked like a raisin, man. He looked like a raisin, all dehydrated and shriveled up. It didn't look right. You got a lot of fighters cutting a little too much weight, I think. That's a big problem for me in the UFC. Yeah. I know, it's a part of the game, especially when you're a wrestler. You want to, pretty much take advantage of all your opportunities, cut a little bit of weight, go a little bit down. But then you got guys who are cutting two divisions. That's a lot. Like Sean O'Malley, man. Why is Sean O'Malley not fighting in the lightweight or whatnot? I mean, look, maybe not even lightweight, but give him bantamweight at least.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see him fight, heavier guys. He's such a good fighter with the people that he's with now, and It would be interesting for sure.
What do you think about Sean O'Malley? You think he's legit?
You know, you haven't really seen him pit up against anybody who is considered to be a top fighter. You know, he's fought undercard people and people who were typically prelim fighters, but you know, like I said, he's just unproven against guys that have had their time in the ring. You know.
And my weird take with it is that when he fought, the only arguably made guy was Cheeto, and Cheeto beat him. And the way he handled that loss was a little odd to me because I think in times of defeat is when you really see the true character of an athlete and you really see like their mental fortitude. And he was completely avoiding it. He was making it seem like he was still undefeated. And he was making it seem like he didn't lose the fight because of this. He didn't have no accountability. And that made me not a fan of him just because of the fact that it was a little cheesy. It was a little corny.
Yeah.
I thought it was played out. I think, we all know you lost. We all know you need to take the step. Just admit it and do the work. You know what I mean? Everybody in the UFC is one of the weirdest sports because in the UFC, it's one-on-one and it is completely vulnerable and exposing. Like when something like Tony Ferguson happens, that is embarrassing. How do you recover from that? Getting front kicked, turn into NFT live in a stadium. Like, man, that I would never be able to shake back from that. Imagine his kids are in there watching.
Oh, yeah.
You got like it's in basketball, you go one-on-one and you ISO and whatnot, but like you don't get dropped on your back. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's completely insane. Different. I wonder what that feeling is like waking up from that, seeing the lights, hearing the noise, and just like, where am I for a second? Thinking the Rome Coliseum. Thinking the Rome Coliseum about to get fed to the lions.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, the UFC is it's entertaining, and they had a lot of good entertaining fights. 275 last night, we had Wei Lee and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. They put on a show, but you know what? I'm thinking that the show was more put on by the victor, Wei Lee. The stat sheet, proved her to be the better fighter. She had 1 knockdown to Jędrzejczyk's none, 94 strikes to her 44, 69 significant, and 3 takedowns. She attempted 6, 50% takedown percentage, but the fact that she was able to get on the ground 3 times and the other fighter was able to do that 0 times was pretty powerful for me. I think that she's a big fighter in that women's strawweight division. I think she's pushing up the ladder. She's a number 2 rank right now. We know who the number 1 rank is, Rose Namajunas. I think the trilogy needs to be here. I think the trilogy, it's not far. It's got to be her next fight. It's got to be Rose's next fight. Yeah. They're both in a slump right now, so to speak. I'm not saying, all right, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Wei Lee's not in a slump. Wei Lee got exposed by Rose, so so to speak, she's proving herself. I believe she did so. She proved herself. Now it's time to take the test again. I think Wei Lee beats Rose. Now she gets the title shot. If she can't beat Rose, why would she get the title shot? That's her Achilles heel. It seems like she needs to get over that first. And look, I know what y'all are thinking. Why would you do a trilogy when Rose is winning the series 2-0? Well, here's why. 2 of the greatest trilogies of all time, Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz. Tito was up 2-0, and they get the fight. Frankie Edgar and BJ Penn, same difference. You got a type of fight or a type of fighters that either don't like each other, their fighting styles are perfect, or they just, for some reason, the cards fall, and that's the fight that has to get scheduled at the time, whether it be injury or just unforeseen circumstances. Whatever the case may be, those fights are so full of energy and just have so much chemistry between the two. It's almost impossible not to book the 3rd fight. Like, for instance, I would book a Dustin O'Connor fight for the 4th. Why not? It would sell money.
I was just about to say, that's a huge money fight.
Dana would definitely pull that together just for the fact that he would be able to sell out another pay-per-view and to get another 1.4 million pay-per-view buys. I mean, would I think that that's the best fight for Conor? No. I don't think he should stay near Dustin Poirier. He shouldn't be anywhere near Dustin Poirier after the last 2 fights. Dustin Poirier really pushed Conor McGregor and pushed him to his limit, and it looked weird. It looked Conor looked really vulnerable. He looked really nervous.
It was different for
sure. He definitely wasn't himself, and it definitely seemed like Conor didn't believe in himself the whole fight. At least the lead up to the fight. That's my personal thoughts. Trash talk was weak. He was just trying to force a lot of things, and then he lowered to threatening, saying he's going to leave in a stretcher and whatnot. It just seemed like he had nothing left to say, and he had to go to those type of weird insults. And I mean, I've never seen karma, make someone face themselves in a mirror so quickly. It literally turned out into fruition with him. And in the UFC, a lot of big strikes can cause a fighter to get injured or whatnot right away. So that type of stuff is just humbling, I guess, because Conor saw that firsthand when he broke his ankle. A lot of big strikes. And, I mean, look, UFC 275, we had a huge strike in that fight we were just talking about. Wei Lee and Jędrzejczyk, dude, that was disgusting. That was textbook. We're going to go ahead and show that to the viewers right here so y'all can see what we're talking about. I mean, right on the butt, and she falls face forward. We're gonna go ahead and put it here in slow motion real quick. I mean, it's textbook. You can't get any better than that. Right on the money, hit her in the jaw, and she's gonna spin down and drop. I mean, it's definitely one of the best ones I've ever seen. Spinning back fist textbook. I think one of the worser knockdowns I've seen. I'm going to go ahead and give it to, maybe a little recency bias here, but I'll give it to Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. That Kamaru strike was rough. Jorge dropped out of nowhere, caught me off guard. But my number one all-time knockdown will be John Jones and Lyoto Machida. John Jones had him against the fence, and the clinch drops. Lyoto hits like a bag of bricks. Looks like he's dead. I mean, for all you know, he could have been. The UFC's always been like that, though, full of excitement and just going crazy. I think this next card, though, coming up on July 2nd, it will be a little more crazier, and that's going to have all my attention set on there. I know I said I didn't want to watch this fight or this fight card at 275. Even if I didn't want to watch 276, the fact that 275 proved me wrong would make me go get 276. But, I mean, it's headlined by Izzy, the style bender. I mean, anytime a style bender steps in the octagon, you got to pay attention to it. And the opening fight will be the man we were talking about previously, Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean's going to go ahead and fight Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz has over 25 professional fights. I believe he has 26 and 1 no contest. Sean O'Malley has 16, so he's a 10-fight elder at this point, which could be, 3-4 years under his belt of extra added experience.
Go for a while, yeah.
So Sugar Sean is going to go ahead and he's going to cut his teeth, so to speak, and getting up there, climbing the ranks. I can't believe it's taken him this long to cut his teeth, Sean.
Yeah, it's just been so long. He's fighting just, I don't want to say, no name for people, but I mean, it's smaller fighters who are, they're still putting on a show, but it's just not the same show that would be brought when you're fighting someone like TJ Dillashaw or Cody Garbrandt or someone like that, that's a big name in that division.
And it impresses people. Like, when you're able to knock off people of that stature, it just shows that you're really a dog. Dog-eat-dog world in the UFC, and you got to start putting dogs in front of Sean O'Malley if you want to see if he is one. I don't think he is. Like I said, that mentality that he exposed after that loss, dude, that showed he's a real loser at heart. You know what I'm saying? God forgive me. He ain't going to like hearing this, but that's just the truth, and you got to show me otherwise, I feel like. Sean O'Malley is just... Here's my comparison. You can kind of look. A Ronda Rousey, so to speak, in that undefeated career would be a little different because there was just no competition for her. Of course, she had to get the belt quick. But what about Cyril Gane? Cyril Gane came in and just wreaked havoc. Yeah. They had a lot of fighters come in the UFC and wreak havoc. Sean O'Malley comes in and he's undefeated. He went to 12-0. He'll say he's still undefeated right now, but I don't think he had that Conor McGregor effect he thought he was going to have. I don't think he came in here thinking he was going to be a blockbuster superstar, captivating, talking trash, jaw-dropping, or whatever the case may be. Didn't seem to work out. Sean O'Malley never really got able to take that next step, and I think the problem is because of the way that he acted. He fought the lower guys. He took the easy fight. He took the Floyd Mayweather cherry-picking fight. Yeah. With that type of attitude, when you're taking the easy way out, not only do the fans notice it, like we're doing right now, Dana notices it.
He's got to.
The UFC notices it in terms of the fighters and the trainers and whatnot. I don't think he's very, like I say, he's not well respected, but that whole gimmick, fighters with gimmicks aren't normally liked. Chael Sonnen, Colby Covington, Conor McGregor, and now you got Sean O'Malley. It just seems like, dude, you're shooting yourself in the foot over and over and over, like with a shotgun blowing it off. He's amputated now. He has probably the locker room now behind him. He's got fans like, dude, you're a joke, clown hair, and he's out here partying he's not focused, it seems. I mean, I don't know. And then the whole Cheeto Vera nonsense was just weird.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that either.
What do you think about Sean? You think Sean's going to be able to cut his teeth and perform and potentially win a championship? Or
he's been talking about this fight with Pedro for a little while now. I heard him on Theo Vaughn's podcast. He was talking that smack about Pedro, calling him prelim Pedro and all that. Prelim Pedro, like he's going to go in there and knock him out. So I'd like to see it happen. I really would. But, we'll have to wait and see.
And look, I'm definitely not ruling Sean O'Malley out. He's got an endless amount of talent. It's just like we were saying. He needs to prove it. To prove that he can. Exactly. He can move up into the ranks. He's a big fish, small pond right now. Yep. You know what I mean? That's a horrible place to put yourself in. In the grand scheme of things, especially as a competitive athlete, the professional level, you don't want to sit there and not put yourself in the best situation to win. I don't know if he needs a new camp. I don't know if he needs a new coach. I don't know if he needs someone in his ear to tell him to step up and grow a pair and go fight. You fight for a living and you're scared to fight people? People are calling him out. I'm sure he's calling out people that are retired. Like, dude, fight the top in your division and take some people out. You know what I mean? Make a little resume for yourself. You got all these wins in the UFC, but it's just they don't hold weight. One of them's against someone who made their debut. His best fight where he landed his most strikes was against someone who made their debut.
That was a really good fight, though.
Chris Moutinho, and it was a good fight for Moutinho because he couldn't put him down. Like, Sean was calculated and Sean, he's got skill and he's got the potential to be one of the greatest, not the greatest all time, but one of the greatest strikers in that division because he's just so animated and he's so captivating and he's really accurate, really precise, really quick. But like I said, man, you just got to start either getting in a new division and find some new guys, or you need to take somebody out, bro. He could definitely do something. He's long. He's awkward to handle. He reminds me of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah.
That's my comparison for him. Just a little bit smaller.
Long.
Yeah. It's odd to me. The next fight, though, on UFC 276, that's just the opener. The next fight is Miesha Tate versus Lauren Murphy. And I'm going to be excited to watch Miesha Tate fight. I've been watching Miesha Tate, ever since she got into the octagon here. Next fight after that's going to be good old Sean Strickland fighting Alex Pereira. Alex has only fought 6 times in his career.
Really?
So Sean looks like he's getting a jobber match, like you'd say in the WWE. He's going to be able to just go out here and slaughter this kid. But you know what I mean? We could be having to eat our words. So I'm going to make him short and sweet on this one. Co-main event, though, this one's going to be a big topic of discussion. We got Alexander Volkanovski, Mr. 24-1 versus Max Holloway. And I'm already knowing who you got for this one, but I want to hear why.
Max bless Holloway, man. You got to look back to the last fight, and you see how it happened. Max Holloway just outstruck him. I would say pretty much the whole fight. The scorecard may say a little different, but when you're actually in the octagon, he's putting so much work onto Alexander the whole time. He's just so much bigger. I feel like you get him in there again after Max has had all this time to train and to heal up from the injury he's been working with. I think he's going to take it for sure.
Yeah, and with this fight, I think it's going to have to go down to time and place. Max Holloway, this is going to be another trilogy where someone's down 2-0, like we were talking about earlier. I can't believe that slipped. But Max Holloway has a great fighting style, but like we were saying with Wei Lee and Rose Namajunas, someone has your number in the UFC every now and then. Someone's your kryptonite, someone's your Achilles heel, someone can expose you. And I think for this one, it's Alexander Volkanovski for Max Holloway. I think Max Holloway, he's a great fighter. At the end of the day, great dad, great role model, great everything, Looking back at that fight where they went the distance.
Yep.
Volkanovski had 139 strikes at 50% strike percentage. Holloway had 111 at 40. And the takedowns were just miserable. Max had none and Volkanovski had 3. So with that what's worrying me with this is that Max is going to have to keep him standing up the entire time.
Without a doubt.
And if that's not possible, he got outstruck. So then now what do? Like, you don't have any common ground. I think he's longer, he's bigger. He might be able to, get him in a clinch, try to weigh him down a little bit. That'd be his only thing. I think Volkanovski catches him. He's the champion. He's got the champion's edge. Those championship rounds are going to go to him. Max needs a finish. He could get it. But it's going to have to be an off night.
I think once they start striking like that, and like you said, if Max can keep him at a distance, and he can't let him take him down, then I think Max would take it. But no, if it's just takedown after takedown and they're wrestling and stuff like that, that would be a little scary.
And look, those are the worst type of fights, though. Takedown after takedown after takedown. Yeah. I wouldn't even want to see that. If that happens, man, that would be horrible. That's kind of like my problem with Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman just feels like he's in a situation to control that division for as long as he wants.
Oh, yeah.
As long as he wants, because the only person I think that can come close to containing that is Colby Covington, and he still lost twice. Right. That's another situation with a 2-0 lead that needs a trilogy. I think Colby needs another fight.
Yeah, I would like to see another fight. That last one was really entertaining.
I think this Max Holloway one, though, this is probably going to be one of the better fights of the last 2-3 years.
I think so, for sure.
Because their fight in 2020 is one of the better fights in the last 2-3 years.
Oh,
so
yeah.
this one
I remember
can only
watching
produce
that, man. We
results.
were going crazy.
It's crazy it took this long.
Yeah. I thought it would come sooner, for sure.
Like Dustin O'Connor, same year, 6 months. This is
ran that
2 years. Max Holloway, though, I think he's ready. I'm ready to see this fight. This is his best chance he's had yet. Like I said, he's going to have to get a finish. Max Holloway will have to get in there, get ugly, get nasty, and take what he wants. He can get that title belt, but if he loses, he probably will never see a title shot again. So he's got to realize that. This is your last chance. What do you do? The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson. What's going on? What you going to do? Make a Netflix documentary about it. I think the main event, though, Israel Adesanya and Jared Cannonier. Another person that owns their division for as long as they would like to is a stylebender. Izzy Adesanya is going to go out there and flex some muscles. A lot of people I know enjoy even friend of the show, Major Burns, LSU defensive back, big fan of Israel Adesanya, and they almost resemble each other. I feel like it's pretty funny. But Israel Adesanya, I think he has such an awkward style. Another very talented kickboxer.
For sure.
He reminds me of John Jones with how long he is, how awkward he is, how he puts you in an uncomfortable situation, makes you guess what he's doing. He's quick, uses a lot of feints in and out. He's a really good boxer, and I seen some of his kickboxing fights in Japan, and he was out there fighting, seemed like every other day. He fought so many fights. He probably knocked people out right away, and they just let him get another fight. I think Israel's going to take this one with flying colors.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it went past the third round. Definitely going to end in a finish. Definitely going to be a knockout. Izzy's got it all the way. He's going to keep this belt. He's going to add another ruby to the side of that championship belt. What do you see happening for Jared Cannonier in the near future?
You know, I find it hard to disagree with you on that one, man. Israel Adesanya is just such a dominant fighter. And like you said, he's in that position to where he can hold that division for as long as he wants, man.
It's those people who put these divisions in a stalemate is kind of what's rough for the UFC, and I think that for the foreseeable future, the UFC is going to have to definitely mix some things up, make some people step up to the plate and fight. No more ducking and dodging and cherry picking these easy fights. Fight. Stop running. Stop faking injuries. Go out and octagon. If you faking it, dude, like, they need to get penalized. I'm sorry, I get an injury, happens out of nowhere, but let's just take a small little percentage just to make sure we weed out who's lying and who's not. A lot of people are pulling out last second. A lot of people are missing weight. I mean, like Israel Adesanya, speaking of the devil, was just complaining about that to Dana White. Not just, but it's definitely a big topic of discussion. Another big topic of discussion is fighter pay. How do you feel about fighter pay and just kind of that whole situation in general?
You know, I think Dana White and the UFC, they're probably making so much money from those pay-per-views and all that. You know, there's got to be there's sponsorships and all that. I think the fighters definitely deserve more money. They're going in and they're putting their freaking lives, I don't want to say lives on the line, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they're taking shot after shot after shot, and that could, you know, affect their lives, you know, their well-being. So I think that they definitely deserve higher pay than, you know, going out there and getting $10K if you lose. You know, that's a good pay for, you know, if you think of it for, you know, 15-20 minutes, but you can't do that for a whole year's salary, you know, or I don't know. And then the total percentages could divide it up a good bit, you know. A lot of it goes to the managers, a lot of it goes to the gyms. So at the end of the day, the fighter's getting what, 40% of that 10K? And
then what my thing is that these guys are going to go out there and, like you said, put their heart and soul on the line. They're probably going to fight twice a year. They're going to get two lump sum amount of money. They're going to get two checks, big, beginning of the year, end of the year, more than likely. That's kind of rough as a household to spread that out. You get your money in the front, and then you got to make it last. That's a little more stressful. And then, you know, the average UFC fighter's salary is $160,000, right? But the average household income in the United States is $25,000 per year, right? 19% of the UFC roster made less than $25,000 a year. So the average is $160,000, but almost a quarter of the fighters are making less than $30,000 a year.
Yeah, that can't work out like that. Yeah, I get that they're smaller fighters and they're not bringing in as much money, but you know they're still doing the same thing that any other fighter's doing. They're still going out there and they're still getting punched in the face repeatedly. So
I think I agree. I think the way we could do it is make it short, sweet, and simple. Ranking system. We got a ranking system already. Make thresholds. Make little, you know, percentages. And
it would make sense.
Like this bottom half does this, whatever the case may be. You got little percentages and criteria you got to meet to get into a raise or whatnot. And then once you get to a certain caliber where you're going to be in the main card, you should get a percentage of the total purse. Excuse me, not the total purse, but the total sale of the pay-per-view and all the buys and whatnot and what the event made. Sure, you shouldn't get a line share of it. The main event should get the bigger piece. Co-main get a little bigger than whatever. And I think, I don't know. They could definitely figure some things out because $25,000 for a prelim fighter, I guess, would not be that bad if they have another job. You know, they're more than likely going to be a call-up like a Chris Mutino, and they got something on the side. So that'll put them at $40,000, $50,000 a year, and they get to fight in the UFC, chase their dream. You know, not everybody is going to escape that $30,000 threshold, but for 20% of the roster to be making less than the average household income in the biggest fighting league in the world, who's probably worth over $1 billion, I think that I would definitely consider something a little different. This next card for the UFC is looking odd, for me at least. I think UFC 277, look, it's front-loaded in terms of it definitely has good potential, But what my thing is all these guys have been kind of on a rocky road. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of skip to the fourth fight. The opener fight, Anthony Smith, yeah, that's rough. He's got like just about as many fights as Cowboy. So with that being said, the CTE might get to his brain quick. He might be out in the opener. God forgive me. But Paulo Costa and Luke Rockhold go up next. That'll be a great fight.
Oh, yeah.
But Paulo Costa's off and on. I mean, he's saying he's drunk in the Izzy fight. He's saying this and that. He's not preparing correctly. I mean, you never know what you're going to get with him. He's like wishy-washy. Derek Lewis, I cannot think of a better adjective to describe that man than wishy-washy. He goes in his hometown and gets put down in this only, like one of his only title fights that he's probably never going to see again now. Brendan Moreno's going to fight Kai Kara France in the co-main event. But the main event will be probably the most interesting fight of the night, of course. Juliana Pena and Amanda Nunes. I'm really interested to see how this happens. The Lioness, Amanda Nunes, can really go down one or two paths here. She can turn into the Ronda Rousey and, live long enough to see herself become the villain, or she can get that belt, and I would push for her to walk off in the sunset like, Joanna Jędrzejczyk did last night.
That would be nice.
She's got her other belt. She can, get the double champ status. She'd be the first fighter to become a double champ twice. And then she can go ahead and ride off into the sunset. Looks like, she's got that child that she's taken care of with her partner and whatnot, and it seems like they're looking to make more of a normal style life. Same with Joanna Jędrzejczyk. These women fighters, that's such a dark horse because a male fighter would be able to start a family and whatnot and not have to sideline their career. But in a woman athlete, they would, because you wouldn't be able to perform as a woman athlete with that. So those type of underlying elements are why these people, these fighters' windows close so quickly. They don't really have as long because of some type of circumstances. The UFC's always entertained me, though, for about as long as I've been alive. I've been young watching the UFC. I think that the future of the UFC is going to be great. It's going to get bigger. They're only going to get more fans. I think what they got to do is, like we were saying earlier, they got to make guys fight.
Oh, yeah. They need to make money fights. Bro.
Yeah, they need more big-name fights because that's all you remember.
Yeah.
You need to make the legacy, and you need to make these kids growing up find something to gravitate towards like we had. You need the Chuck Liddells, and you need the John Jones, and you need the Chael Sonnens, you need the Anderson Silvas. I mean, dude, we had a lot of good fighters that really cultivated not only the foundation of what the UFC sits on today, but these guys were tough, these guys were brutal, these guys were just rough. And I mean, look, it might be the era we're not. We definitely got a lot of tough and rough guys, but it's far and few in between in some type of divisions in terms of elite fighters. I think that we need to go, back to the smash mouth. Let's put rough guys with rough guys. Like, let's make everybody fight. I think no one should be off limits. And you never know at the end of the day. You got guys like Georges St. Pierre. Georges St. Pierre walk into a bar, you would never guess he'd clear that bar out in 30 seconds, knock everyone on their back.
Yeah.
These type of guys deserve a chance at the end of the day is all I'm getting at. Everybody needs to be able to prove themselves. Everybody in the UFC at least can... UFC is one of these sports where everything can turn on a dime. Right. Your career can end. Your career can all of a sudden push you into the top 10 of the standings after a crazy knockout. You can get a $75,000 bonus at the end of the game. I mean, in the NFL, it's a lot of gradual success. A lot of other sports are like, I want to see a lot more consistency. The majors, you got to be... in baseball, you got to be in the minors for 2-3 years and show consistency before you're called up to the majors. In the NBA, you got the G League now. And the NBA barely even gives you minutes in the beginning. Yeah, and then sometimes they play with your minutes like a Zion Williamson or whatnot, whatever the case may be. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
NFL, you got a practice squad. And the NFL will put you on special teams if you're a skill position player and you haven't proved yourself yet. You haven't gained the trust or whatnot. The UFC will throw you in the fire. You know what I mean? You want to fight somebody? You want to call them out? Good, go.
Go do it, yeah.
Let's see. Dana White's good about that. I think he's a good boss. I think he's just got to figure out how to balance that hunger for money and that hunger for winning and all that. Because look, when media has a huge mass influence and has a bunch of money come in, that product has the potential to be at its best. So to speak, the UFC could peak right now higher than ever before because they have the most money, they have the most attention, they have everything. They're gaining audience through Nelk or just through different sponsorships, and a lot of that's because Dana White has still a good touch on the young kids because his children are in the teens, and they would be that audience he's trying to cater to grow them into bigger UFC fans. I think the UFC's future is huge. That company's going to be around a long time. Definitely more than boxing. Way more entertaining. Way more captivating. You would never see this in boxing. You would never see someone fall flat on their face because it was spinning backwards. And if you did, they would probably be suspended for 2 months. This is one of the most insane highlights I've ever seen in the UFC, and it almost should be illegal.
Yeah, it's
rough.
crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. Spinning back fist, we'll keep that one around. Man, the UFC though, that's probably one of the easiest things to lose time on.
Yeah.
Talking about.
Oh,
Especially when you got, you got so
so
many rabbit holes you can go down. You can talk about the next fight for Conor McGregor. You
Yeah.
can talk about so many different things. I mean, Mystic Mac, I think the only answer is Nate Diaz, but then at the same time, you got Michael
I
Chandler.
was just about to say that, bro. You cannot forget about Michael Chandler. That is going to be insane.
That would be fireworks. I think if you put Michael Chandler and Conor McGregor in the same room to talk crap to each other,
So that's the money fight right there. You know?
Dana would have to pry them off each other with a crowbar. They'd be stuck to each other like, super glue. They'd be bonded together almost. Dana White and Conor seem to get along. He's going to put Conor in a situation to win, though. So, I mean, at the same time, I wouldn't rule out a potential Charles Oliveira and Conor McGregor fight coming up here.
Oh.
If he got a first win in the lightweight division, took someone like Michael Chandler out real quick, he'd definitely get the title fight.
Oh,
'cause of
yeah,
Dana.
without a doubt after that.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see, but at the same time, it's definitely odd. He's one of the greatest. Has he like earned that spot and earned that stature, just being able to come in and take a title shot from somebody?
Just out the blue.
If he had a little bit better recent performances, yeah. Like if we were fresh off the Cowboy fight, hell yeah, send him to Charles. Go ahead.
It would make sense. Yeah.
I think that Conor McGregor, he has a serious ultimatum here. He's well liked by everyone. He's got a great legacy. Yeah. He's going to be remembered as one of the greatest. He's the first double champ. He was a double champ at 2 different companies.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most charismatic fighters that will ever walk this face of the earth.
It's a safe bet.
He just needs to watch what he's doing because he's kind of like Ronda Rousey and maybe even Amanda Nunes is doing. They're kind of staying around long enough to see themselves become the villain. Not a lot of people like Conor to begin with, and the fact that he's going to go out here and make these empty promises and get devastated back-to-back fights against someone that he was saying he was going to beat. He was promising that he was going to beat, and he got miserably whooped. I mean, even though he broke his foot in the third fight, I was pulling for Conor, and I think Conor was losing.
Oh, yeah, I definitely thought he was losing, too.
He hit Dustin with a couple strikes standing up, but Dustin had him on the ground, give him 2 more minutes, and those elbows going down would have had Conor knocked out. And then Conor's accumulation of damage is horrible. It's like once he gets stunned and tired or whatever the case may be, it's kind of hard to get him back in that mindset. He's shook, and then he just looks like, I don't know, he just, even with Khabib or even Nate, the first Nate, I don't know, Floyd Mayweather, you kind of saw it too a little bit. In Conor's losses, you can really see that look in his eye. It's always a kind of look he gives that makes it seem like, well, it's all but over.
It's true.
All but over. Hopefully, Conor McGregor will be able to do something. I mean, that's
I don't want it to be the end.
Fighter all the time. First, got to be John Jones. John Jones is insane, man. He never lost a fight. Nobody really beat him. I get he got that disqualification. I don't care. Nobody beat John Jones. You can't prove me wrong. Nobody would beat John Jones. John Jones in his prime would have beaten anybody. Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson. I don't care. He would beat literally everybody. He had the longest reach in UFC history, 84 inches. Great kickboxer, great submission artist, great clinch game. He does everything. There's no flaw in John Jones' game. Great conditioning. And God forgive me, but the dude was on like 2 weekends of coke beating up world champions in the UFC. Like, what's going on with that? Why is he... He's a complete genetic freak. John Jones will never be able to be replicated because no one could be an elite fighter at every level like that man was able to do.
Yeah, John Jones was just a great all-around fighter, like you said, man. There's literally nobody who can even come close to the magnitude of just pure entertainment,
And I feel like I have to go to bat for John Jones here and there because a lot of people don't give him his flowers when his flowers are due just because of the circumstances. But I think John Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. Little hot take for me. Yeah. I think that John Jones has, like I said, every single facet of mixed martial arts game that you would need. He's got the ground game. He's got the clinch game. He's got the stand-up game. John Jones is about as tough as he can get. He's funny on the mic. He's calm, cool, collected. That poise carries him. He reminds me of like Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean? He can handle adversity, especially in the UFC. Handling adversity is one of the most clutch things that you can have. Handling adversity, though, across all sports is different depending on what sport you may be. Like football, for instance, the quarterback would have to not want to get smashed by a D lineman or kind of look across the field and make sure that there's no zone hawks like, a DB from LSU, like Patrick Peterson or Tyrann Mathieu. A lot of quarterbacks in the league get flack for their decision making, and I even think in college football, a lot of them get flack for that as well. But it's one of the harder positions to play. Obviously, you got to remember all these plays. You got to remember where everyone's going to go in these plays. You got to remember what the defense is going to do on these plays. You got a lot of things turning in your head, and a lot of guys like Tom Brady just aren't appreciated enough for the fact that he's got a photographic memory.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And he's just completely aware of his surroundings at all time. He can read a defense like it's nothing.
Right.
Even Cam Newton with the Green Bay Packers highlight when he was like, "Oh, y'all been watching film? Watch this." Completely found the hole in that cover.
Yeah.
Quick. A lot of quarterbacks, they don't get their flowers because they don't have one of the most important things that I think will be your sword/hill to die on. Sword to die from, hill to die on in the NFL is Super Bowl rings. And a lot of these quarterbacks in the league who don't have one are kind of underrated. So I'm going to dedicate the final segment of this show to giving the top 5 quarterbacks, I think, who do not have a ring. And this is a little preview of a video we'll be releasing later on in the week. We're going to have a full dive deep into this. We're going to have some stats. We're going to have some graphics. We're going to have all kind of whatnot. But this is pretty much a preview, like I said. So I'm thinking, my top 5 is going to be headlined by Josh Allen. Josh Allen has the mindset, the experience, the arm, the wheels. He's got everything. I was going to go Joe Burrow at number 1, but Joe Burrow, we've seen 1 year from him. He has a lot of pressure around him with that offensive line. You never really got to see Joe Burrow sit down and be calm and just kind of relax and whatnot. So it's kind of hard for me to put him over Josh Allen right now just because you do see Josh Allen calm, cool, collect, and make the throws, make the deep balls, whatnot. Also, Joe has an extreme relationship with Jamar Chase. That's a huge dark horse in this. I think Josh Allen with a huge receiver like that, like a Jamar Chase, would be just Super Bowl bound off the rip as well. So Josh Allen, I think, could potentially be the league MVP next year. That's going to be my number 1. My number 2 is going to be Joe Burrow, like I said. Number 3, I'm going to give it to Lamar Jackson. Lamar gets a lot of flack, running back at quarterback, yada, 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 weak arm. Well, he sort of silenced the haters last week with that one need 60-yard bomb. But, Pat McAfee's show was kind of talking about how pretty much anybody in the NFL can do that. Anybody who's strong and has big shoulders and big chest would be able to sling a rock 40 yards down the field.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and finish off this list at number 4 with Justin Herbert from the San Diego Chargers. I think that Justin Herbert is in a situation to succeed. He's got a lot of good talent around him. That run game is going to help him out. He's in a great state, great city. San Diego, you couldn't pick him a better place as a young man to spend millions of dollars and be able to live probably one of the best lives you'd have. Los Angeles now.
Yeah.
My bad.
I'm sitting here thinking it's subconscious.
It's that area. Excuse me. It's that area. Something like that. Hey, look, the Los Angeles Chargers haven't won enough for me to remember what the name is.
Yeah.
They need to actually perform in the playoffs and get to the playoffs for me to remember they're in Los Angeles. So if y'all do that this year, then I probably won't call y'all San Diego Chargers ever again. Chargers are a mess. The front office is horrible. It's all kind of just like people want to sell their shares because of this. They got handed down to the family or whatnot from a couple family members, and now you got people wanting to sell, people not wanting to sell. You got just all kind of ups and downs and highs and lows with that thing. Lows are really low, highs are really high. Derek Carr, though, is going to finalize this list as number 5. Derek Carr's got a little weapon in Devontae Adams that he's going to be able to utilize here a little bit more in Las Vegas. Got that one right. Derek Carr, I think he's got good accuracy. He reminds me of a little bit less talented Drew Brees. I think he's got a lot of the good.
Yeah, I mean, there's flashes.
Toss and turn, roll out, sling it. I don't know though, man. It's that what gets me with Derek Carr is he did have a lot of talent. Henry Ruggs, Darren Waller. He's got a lot of guys who can go up and go get it. He was in a division right there where he was able to beat Denver and Los Angeles Chargers. Sure, the Chiefs were a little powerhouse, but, man, if you're second in your division, you can arguably break in as a wild card.
Yeah.
So where have the Raiders been? Sure, the Raiders made the playoffs and whatnot, but, they don't do anything. The Raiders need to be able to perform at the highest level, and Derek Carr, I think, is not necessarily to blame for it, but I do think there's a couple of things he can do, whether it be from a leadership standpoint or whatnot, that can help him out. Derek Carr has like I said, number 1 wide receiver in the league now on his team because of an absolute steal of a pick that the Packers threw at him. Mm-hmm. They threw Devontae Adams out of Green Bay and sent him to Las Vegas, and now he's reunited with his college quarterback who seem like they're kind of happier than ever, man. Posted on Instagram and all that, but you know who else posted on Instagram? Devontae Adams posted Aaron Rodgers on Instagram. They were playing golf together. That threw me off.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect that either.
That threw me off. Well, we'll dive back into that real quick, but what's your top 5 QBs in the league with no ring? What are you thinking?
So I think I'm gonna start it off with Lamar, man. He's
Lamar, number 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's a winning quarterback. You know, he's been relatively deep in the playoffs a few times, and I like watching him play. He's definitely a real entertaining quarterback. He wills his team forward in late games. You know, fourth quarter, it's 2 minutes left. He'll you can trust him to go down there and score that touchdown for you. So I would definitely have him. I guess at number 1. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stay firm on that. And then at number 2, I have Joe Burrow for sure. Like you said, that connection between him and Jamar Chase is just unreal. So I don't see what's stopping them at this point from going and taking it right back to where they were before. Number 3, I would probably have to say Josh Allen. You know, he has that big arm, and you know, like I said with Lamar, he's part of a winning team. You know, all 3 of them are. They've been into the playoffs. They've played good teams. You know, and he's proven himself a couple times. Number 4, I put Josh Herbert. Not Josh, Justin. Oh, dang. But yeah, he's pretty good. You know, there's issues with the Chargers for sure. I don't know. I think giving him a couple more years, he'll be up there. He might flip with Josh. But then number 5, I put Derek Carr. He's got the pieces around him. Devontae Adams is certainly interesting. Darren Waller is a great tight end. You know, I think next year is going to be interesting for him for sure. But yeah, I don't think I can move him anywhere higher than 5.
I have a hard time putting him at 5 for me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too at the end. I was like, 5's still a little up there. But he's a better quarterback for sure, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you could say Kyle Murray. You could say a lot of guys.
That is
right
true.
There. I mean, you could even argue Mac Jones maybe. Little pocket passer.
Yeah.
Mac
you
Jones
can flip a couple people into the 5th position.
Mac Jones might be fizzling out here soon. That New England, man, Bill Belichick is not looking good. That draft was rough. A lot of analysts and a lot of even executives in the NFL are saying it's one of the stupidest drafts they've ever seen. And the Patriots always draft funny, but Bill is looking to be the weaker link of the dynasty. Rob Kraft always naturally gravitated towards Tom Brady, and it seems like obviously for the reason of him being the GOAT, greatest player, and he was the glue. He was pretty much the main ingredient. You can't make apple pie without apples. And that was Tom Brady to the New England dynasty. He was the apples of the apple pie. He was a crust, too, honestly. Bill Belichick, without Tom Brady, is nothing. He's doing nothing. He got exposed in the playoffs. That was ridiculous. Yeah. I've never seen anything like that.
That was pretty.
From Bill.
A sad performance.
Like, Big Bill. He's looking crazy.
Big Bill Belichick, man.
Big Billy, man. Billy needs to realize that he's... That flame's going out, bro. That wick ain't much longer left on that candle. He need to retire. Bruce Arians seen the writing on the wall, and he went up and got out of there. But Bill needs to go, bro. Yeah, Bill needs to go, man. Well, we're going to keep going with the Sunday at 7 live streams here in the Verdant Verdict. We're going to go away from the 2 streams a week. We're going to put out some more, YouTube video style content. Like we said, we're going to have the top 5 QBs without a ring video coming out here soon. We're also going to dive into some college football talk, some NBA Finals recaps as well. NBA Finals predictions and post-game reactions will still be posted on the Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Verdant Verdict. The link is in the bio. You can follow straight out of the description. Subscribe and share the stream with a friend. Join the fam, like we said earlier. Go ahead and turn on that notification bell. Make sure you don't miss a stream. We're going to be streaming Sunday at 7. Uploads will be around 4 or 5 o'clock. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's looking for the videos. We've got a lot of clips daily on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, on everything. We're even active on Facebook. Tell your mom to follow the show. Verdant Verdict on Facebook. Pretty easy show today. Talking about UFC, talking about pretty much my favorite sport, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I came in here. It's definitely top 3.
Yeah, that next card will be interesting. Maybe we'll have to live stream for that July 2nd UFC fight. That'll be an announcement. We might have a little special UFC stream. We ain't gonna be streaming the fight like a couple of you asked for that NBA playoff stream. We can't do that. That's illegal. That would definitely put us in. We'd have Dana White showing up with a nice little letter for us if that happened. So,
Yeah, that is true.
more to come, more content to come. Stream again Sunday at 7. Hopefully the Warriors can win at home tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think the Warriors need to take this. Whoever takes tomorrow, I think is going to be the victor.
Yeah, I mean there is a chance.
If
the Warriors
Boston
win
wins
2 in a row,
tomorrow, it's over. If Boston wins tomorrow, they're taking it in 6 in Boston. They're not going to Boston and losing.
I guess that is true.
But they did to Miami. They almost got a 500 record. They're 6-4 and home in the playoffs. Excuse me, 5-5.
Yeah.
5-5. They are 500. Look at that. Boston Celtics 500 at home in the playoffs. That's the best defensive team in the NBA, by the way. Everybody wants to say, everybody, man. Hold on. We gotta talk about this real quick before we get off. I don't know if he's watching. I don't know if he's gonna see this, but Ryan, my old roommate, we gotta talk, man. We gotta talk about this Celtics. Bro, I thought you said they're gonna win, dude. Series is tied. We can go ahead and get back to that though. We'll get you to zoom into the show, and we'll talk about this one after this Game 5 victory from Golden State to bring them up 3-2, potentially close out. So NBA Finals looking here to wrap up. UFC 276 gonna be underway here shortly. Roughly what, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, it's gonna get started
It's
up.
getting close. When is Connor's fight going to be announced? Dana White, hopefully before we get live on Sunday at 7, we know when Conor McGregor's going to fight. You never know. I'm calling it right now. We might know. Might know. Never know.
Just
All right. Well, this has been the Verdict Verdict. Thanks for spending your Sunday night with us out of nowhere. Hopefully we can get this going a little better, find a perfect time for this show. We've been trying out a lot of things. I think this Sunday at 7, though, is going to be the one that sticks. So come ahead and give your takes. Pop in, watch what we got to talk about. Hopefully, we don't bore you too much. Hopefully, we don't go down too many rabbit holes like we did today. But Verdict's still going to post on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, yada, yada, like everything. Wherever you get your podcast, that's where we'll be 24/7. Same thing as TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Go ahead and follow the show. This has been the Verdict, and thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all enjoy the rest of your night, and good luck to the Golden State Warriors. And Draymond Green, please go out there and score 10 points. I want a double-double from Draymond. That's it. Draymond, you better at least score 10. That's all I'm saying. Thank you. This has been the Verdict.